New Lands, by Charles Hoyfort, Part 2, Chapter 37c. Consider anything of a sociologic nature that has ever grown. That there never has been an art, science, religion, invention that was not at first out of accord with established environment, visionary, preposterous in the light of later standards, useless in its incipiency, and resisted by established forces so that, seemingly animating it and protectively underlying it, there may have been something that in spite of its unfitness made it survive for future usefulness. Also there are data for the acceptance of all things in wider being are held back as well as protected and prepared for, and not permitted to develop before comes scheduled time. Langley's flying machine makes me think of something of the kind, that this machine was premature, that it appeared a little before the era of aviation upon this earth, and that therefore Langley could not fly. But this machine was capable of flying, because, some years later, Curtiss did fly in it. Then one thinks that the Wright brothers were successful, because they did synchronize with a scheduled time. I have heard that it is questionable that Curtiss made no alterations in Langley's machine. There is no lack of instances. One of the greatest of secrets that have eventually been found out was for ages blabbed by all the pots and kettles in the world, but that the secret of the steam engine could not, to the lowliest of intellects, or to suppositiously highest of intellects, more than adjunctively reveal itself until came the time for its coordination with the other phenomena and the requirements of the industrial age, and coal that was stored in abundance near the surface of the ground, and the needs of dwellers over coal mines, veins of which were often exposed upon the surface of the ground for fuel, but that this secret, too, was obvious, too, could not be revealed until the coming of the industrial age, then the building of factories, the inventing of machines, the digging of coal, and the use of steam, all appearing by simultaneous variation, and coordinating. Shores of North America, nowadays, with less hero worship than formerly. Historians tell us that, to English and French fishermen, the coast of Newfoundland was well known, long before the year 1492. Nevertheless, to the world in general, it was not, or, according to our acceptances, could not be, known. About the year 1500, a Portuguese fleet was driven by storms to the coast of Brazil, and returned to Europe. Then one thinks that likely enough, before the year 1492, other vessels had been so swept to the coasts of the Western Hemisphere, and had returned, but that data of westward lands could not emerge from the suppressions of the era, but that the data did survive, or were preserved for future usefulness, that there are thou shalt nots engraved upon something underlying all things, and then effacing, when phases pass away.